Hello and welcome back to another episode of Kerbal Space Program in the series we're calling KSP POV, where we play Kerbal Space Program in first person. Today we have a solitary goal, and that is to unlock a part. We have not that much science, and what we need costs 90. So we are going to be doing some contracts that not only give us money, but forces us to get science from all around the KSC. And so by grinding out these contracts, hopefully we should be able to get enough money to afford, or not get enough money, but get enough science to afford the fuel duct. That's going to be crucial in our upcoming episodes. So here we're just taking some structural beams and just making a rover out of it. Just throwing on only what we need, trying to keep it as minimalistic as possible. And then we're going to go ahead and bring it over here to the launch pad, because these set of contracts that we're going to be doing today require specific experiments to be done in specific biomes around the KSC. So, Launchpad being one of them, the crawlerway, the vehicle assembly building, the spaceplane hangar, tracking station, admin building, astronaut complex, and there's one more. What is it? The research and development. That's right. So all those different places we can get science. And now a lot of people, when they do their early game and they need to grab science, they'll just create a rover that has all the science experiments on it, and then just take them around to all the different biomes and just collect a whole bunch of science that way. And that is a great way of getting a whole bunch of science for relatively cheap. So by doing it this way, we can space them out and get paid each time. We'll just have to re-accept the contracts, because the contracts will be different experiments in different locations, and by the time you've done them all, then you will have done all the experiments and you'll be able to get all the science. So it's just a nice way of doing that early game. I don't believe that is standard. I do have a bunch of contract packs installed, so that might be from one of those. I'm not sure. But yeah, this is just the way that I've been playing for a while, and I've had contract packs for a while. So I can't remember if the contract to perform experiments around the KSC is standard or not, but those are the ones that we're doing. So now it's just time to break our rover. This is early game, and this isn't a mechanical. Ran right into that building. This rover is a rocket-powered rover, so it's not the easiest to control. So we have to do one more of those experiments. For some reason, it didn't activate. So we just went ahead and brought our rover right back up to the runway, and we go ahead and get that one done. And we bring it back. So there we go. We finished that contract. I did forget to bring up in the last time that I activated one of these things. So now for every amount of reputation we get, we'll get a little bit extra funds from it too. So that's nice. Good way of building up our coffers. So I'm just looking through the contracts, see what each of them require and if there's anything worth grabbing. I do grab the crewed orbit because we are going to be doing that eventually. But then I went ahead and grabbed another set to perform experiments around the KSP. So this one we gotta put a big old material science bay, the radial mounted science junior. We decided to make this one a four-wheeler, just give it a little bit of extra balance. There we go. Getting the same screens as usual. Go ahead and power up. And these scenes are going fast. I fast forward them just because it takes a while, but we are going actually pretty fast. As you can see, I lose control of the vehicle a little bit. Yeah, not much to say here, just driving the river around, doing some science. Having to use buildings to bring ourselves to a stop. Still don't have enough science, but we're getting there. We're grinding. We've already gotten 50, so shouldn't be too hard. There we are, we're grabbing just once again another perform experiments on the KSP contract. And so how I do, I haven't really explained it before, but how I like to do is I set up the action groups to be the specific biome. So if there's multiple experiments done in the same biome, I just set them to the same action group. So that way all we have to do is drive to the biome and then hit the button and all of our experiments will be done in the right place. And so the real trick is to look at the list and then plot your path to go along and see which one you're going to hit first and try to do it smoothly. So it doesn't seem like it, but we're going 20 meters per second, so we are really hauling it down this runway. Flipping over as we make this right turn is definitely a concern, so we have to watch our speed as we do it. So there we go, it went ahead and did the science experiments for the spaceplane hangar. We keep on going. And now here, I'm trying to do my experiment and I can't figure out why it's not working and why I can't click on it to make it an action group even after the fact. It turns out that that thing had gotten bumped somewhere along the line and had broken. So the whole front piece that I have doesn't work at all. So yeah, so that's inconvenient. And then once again, just trying to slow down. So much momentum with these engines, the wheels want to just keep going forever. So, yep, as you can see, I still have those experiments to be done. We'll just go and grab a new one and put it on. And I bring it to the crawler way because it's much closer that way. And here we are, perching where we need to be. And luckily I was able to get both biomes right there because KSC appeared for just a second. And with that, our rover excursions are done. We have almost enough science. We are just 20 or 14, what is that, 14, 18? 18 science short. We need 90 science to unlock the fuel ducts. So, to end off the episode, or to finish up the episode anyways, we decide we're gonna grab some science from a biome that I know that we haven't grabbed them from. In our Escaping Kerbin series, we went and we did a mission down to the South Pole. And we got a lot of good science from that. And we also made a mission over to the deserts in the west. So I think that this is going to go to the deserts. The South Pole was a little bit farther of a journey, so I think this should be just enough. As you saw there, I stacked that interior service bay filled with different science experiments, a little bit of life support. So now we're just making a basic plane, nothing too fancy. Just enough to get us into the air and bring us to our destination. So we're gonna go ahead and do a test flight, see that it actually lifts off. And like I said before, our test flights will be done in third person. Because we're just trying to see that it works. Yeah, and it controls fairly well. I don't have the specific control set up as far as where they're supposed to be, is the wings being roll and tail being yaw and all that. So I'm doing that right here. Then I decided to go ahead and throw on some parachutes. Once again, I go and test it. It's important to have your elevating surfaces all tuned to be the right thing. So the surfaces on the wings control the roll. The top part of the tail fin controls the yaw, and then the side parts of the tail fins control the pitch. And so it's good to have them separate. You can have them do everything. I think that's probably more for like stunt planes and stuff, but I am not an authority on airplanes and KSP, so just take that with a grain of salt. But here we are in the cockpit, so that means that we are doing this for real. We have an actual Kerbal's life at stake, so we have to pay attention and do things correctly. So we only got one screen to work with. I'm not really sure what to put on it. We have all these gauges and dials, and I spent some time while we fly trying to figure out what each of them are. So there's a lot of information to take in here. But as you can see, I was paying attention to the dials and I started to veer off the side of the runway. So before anything got too bad, I lifted up my nose and went into the air. Yeah, so the desert is behind us. So once we take off, we're going to have to go 180 degrees. And then level out. Yep. So just playing around with the screens there. So yeah, right now, oh, I'm looking for the altitude. So I got one right there. And I turn off the internal lights because it's daytime, but I think I turned them back on a little bit later because they just do make things a little easier to see. I changed this to monitor my time warp. It's just a good way of seeing when I'm time warping. Or physics warping, I should say, since it does actually have effect on our craft. And occasionally, if I click the window, I'll go into this little seat down there. I'm not really sure what that is useful for. Docking, maybe? I don't know. Now, truthfully, we could land in any of this. We haven't gotten science experiments from the Midlands or the Highlands or the mountains or any of that. We've done a few small places. I think we've done the grasslands. We've done some science experiments there, but so yeah, so we could land practically anywhere here and get science. But the thing is I know the desert we haven't even touched in this playthrough, so that's where the goal was. I had wished I had turned my camera the correct way. I think that would have looked a little bit better, but still nice to see that we're high enough over the mountains that we can just easily clear them. And we get to see the nice curvature of the planet. It's quite enjoyable flying planes when when they're actually flying. So now I'm looking on the map and it looks like we're tilting down a little bit. So I go and I try to tilt myself to the right, but I was in time warp, so I went way too fast. So we're trying to be careful with our time warp. because we know that things can go wrong very quickly. And we're not quick saving. Yeah, I guess that must be for docking. So now it's just a long trip over the blue ocean. I am moving faster than I was expecting, but I'm also not moving in the direction that I was expecting. So I tried to adjust myself a little bit. And in order to try to save a little bit of fuel, I kicked down the throttle a little bit. Because we are starting to run out of that. If you look over on the left, you can see our 3 engines are kind of at their last bits. But we're spotting land. We can see it out of our cockpit window. We're just going to try to point ourselves towards it. I don't have very long left. Our fuel is running out. With any luck, we'll be able to land. But my goal of doing both the desert and another biome is looking like it's not going to be possible. So I point myself at the border of the ocean and the land, but it seems to just disappear from me. Like, the more I look at it, the less I can actually focus on it, and I'm like, oh no, it's to the right. I keep being off. I think that might just be an illusion of oh yeah, and then I look at the map and I see, I'm like, I don't look like I'm going in the right direction at all. I look like I'm going backwards now. And then we get the warning that we have low fuel. So I'm time warping forward and trying to keep myself from plummeting straight into the water. And see, visually it looks like I need to go towards the right, and then I'll reach land at its closest point. But on the map, that doesn't make any sense. So I'm kind of confused at which one is more correct. I think piloting planes is a little more unique than piloting rockets. Rockets seem to make a lot of sense. So all we need to do is land in the desert and get some science. We only need 18 science, and the material, the Science Junior, the material base experiment itself should provide that. But we're going to grab all the science that we can. Alright, now I can start to see the land coming into view. Yep, there it is. We just need to make it over that little hill, and then it should be flat enough for us to land. Oh, and then I move a little bit while still in time warp. Not good. So I'm lowering my altitude just a little bit, but trying not to lower it too fast. I throttle up all the way because I had throttled down a little bit during our journey. So just give myself all the power that I can hold, and then I'm starting to turn it a little bit to try to get my angle a little better, angle of attack. And so I start to correct it by turning, and then while I'm in mid-turn or mid-bank or whatever, the fuel gives out and I lose control and I rapidly start flipping. Sadly, I got rid of the material science out of the air. I didn't realize what I was doing and I hit recycle instead of keep. But I was so worried about crashing that I needed to take a quick look outside my vehicle, which I probably shouldn't have. I probably should have just stayed in first person the whole time, but especially considering that I managed to regain control of the craft. I was looking around for a little bit to see if I could find the emergency eject button to save the Kerbal, but thankfully the craft was able to be saved itself, and so everyone inside is nice and safe. So we go ahead and we do our science experiments, splash down in Kerbin's Ocean, which is hilarious because we could have done those experiments just right outside the KSC, you know. We didn't have to come all this way just to splash down. But I'm glad that we got the science regardless, that, you know, it wasn't a complete waste, even though we didn't make it to the desert. And here we go, the external fuel dock. That will revolutionize our space flight, and we are going to be able to do so much more with that. But anyways, that's where I'm going to leave this episode. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please consider giving me a like, and I will see you in the next one. Take care.